You will survive this storm, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, you might feel like the world is crashing down around you. The winds are howling, the rain is pounding, and the waves are threatening to pull you under. You're in the middle of a storm and it feels endless. But let me tell you something, you will survive this storm. Not only will you survive it, but you will come out stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you've ever been before. You see, storms don't come into our lives to destroy us. They come to reveal us. They come to show us what we're made of. They come to remind us that deep within us lies a strength we've forgotten, a resilience we've underestimated, and a fire that cannot be extinguished. Think about it. When have you ever grown the most in your life? Was it when everything was easy? When the sun was shining and the path was clear? No, it was when you were tested, when you were pushed to your limits. When you had to dig deep and find that extra ounce of courage, that extra bit of faith, that extra spark of determination to keep going. That's when you grew. That's when you became the person you were always meant to be. Now, I know what you're thinking, but this storm feels different. This one feels too big, too overwhelming. And you're right, it is different. But so are you. You're not the same person you were the last time life knocked you down. You've learned, you've grown, you've built muscles you didn't even know you had. And those muscles are going to carry you through this. Here's the truth. Storms don't last forever. They can't. It's not in their nature. The rain will stop. The winds will calm. The clouds will part. And when they do, you'll look back and realize something incredible. You didn't just survive the storm, you conquered it. You stood tall when it would have been easier to fall. You kept moving forward when it would have been easier to quit. You chose hope when it would have been easier to despair. And that's the power you have within you. That's the power of the human spirit. It's unbreakable, unstoppable, unshakable. No storm, no matter how fierce, can take that away from you. So I want you to do something right now. I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel the strength within you. Feel the courage. Feel the determination. And then I want you to make a decision that no matter how hard the wind blows, no matter how high the waves rise, you will not give up. You will not back down. You will not let this storm define you. Because here's the secret. The storm doesn't get to decide your fate, you do. You get to decide how this story ends. And if you decide right here, right now, that you will survive, that you will rise, that you will thrive, then nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. So stand tall, hold your ground, and remember, this storm is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's your catalyst. It's your opportunity to become the hero of your own story. You will survive this storm, and when you do, you'll look back and realize you were never just surviving, you were becoming. Now go out there and show the world what you're made of. The storm doesn't stand a chance. Storms reveal your strength. They don't define your limits. Think about that for a moment. When life throws its worst at you, when the winds of adversity howl, when the rain of challenges pours down, when the thunder of uncertainty shakes your very foundation, it's easy to feel like you're being pushed to your breaking point. But here's the truth. The storm isn't here to break you. It's here to reveal you. It's here to show you what you're truly made of. It's here to remind you that within you lies a strength far greater than any force, nature, or life can throw your way. You see, it's in the midst of the storm that we discover who we really are. When everything is calm, when life is smooth sailing, it's easy to coast. It's easy to feel confident, capable, and in control. But when the storm hits, that's when the real test begins. That's when you're forced to dig deep, to tap into reserves of courage, resilience, and determination you didn't even know you had. That's when you realize that you're not as fragile as you thought. That's when you see that you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Think about the last time you faced a major challenge. Maybe it was a personal loss, a professional setback, or a health crisis. In the moment, it probably felt overwhelming. It probably felt like the weight of the world was on your shoulders. But look back now. What did you learn about yourself? What strengths did you discover? What new skills did you develop? chances are you came out of that experience stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. That's the power of the storm. It doesn't just test you, it transforms you. The storm forces you to confront your fears. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. And while that can be terrifying, it's also incredibly empowering, because when you face your fears head on, when you stare them down and refuse to back down, you realize that they're not as powerful as they seem. You realize that you have the strength to overcome them. You realize that you are stronger than your circumstances. The storm also teaches you resilience. It shows you that no matter how many times you get knocked down, you have the power to get back up. It shows you that failure isn't the end, it's just a stepping stone on the path to success. It shows you that setbacks are temporary, but your determination is permanent. Every time you rise after a fall, every time you keep going when it would be easier to quit, you're building resilience. You're building a strength that will carry you through any challenge life throws your way. And let's not forget the storm's ability to reveal your creativity and resourcefulness. When the usual paths are blocked, when the old ways of doing things no longer work, the storm forces you to think outside the box. It forces you to find new solutions, to explore new possibilities, to tap into your innate creativity. Some of the most innovative ideas, the most groundbreaking discoveries, and the most profound personal growth come from times of adversity. The storm doesn't just reveal your strength, it reveals your potential. But perhaps the most important thing the storm reveals is your sense of purpose. When everything else is stripped away, when the distractions and noise of everyday life are silenced, the storm forces you to ask yourself, what really matters? What am I fighting for? What is my why? And when you connect with your deeper purpose, when you tap into the core of what drives you, you find a strength that is unshakable. You find a motivation that keeps you going even when the storm is at its worst. The storm also reveals your capacity for empathy and connection. When you're going through a difficult time, you become more aware of the struggles of others. You become more compassionate, more understanding, more willing to lend a helping hand. And in doing so, you not only strengthen your own resilience, but also contribute to the resilience of those around you. The storm reminds us that we're not alone, that we're all in this together, and that together we can weather any storm. It's important to remember that the storm doesn't define your limits. It doesn't determine how far you can go or how much you can achieve. Your limits are not set by the challenges you face, but by how you respond to them. The storm may push you, it may test you, it may even knock you down, but it doesn't get to decide how your story ends. That's up to you. When you're in the middle of the storm, it's easy to feel like it will never end. It's easy to feel like you're stuck, like there's no way out. But the truth is, storms are temporary. They come and go. What's permanent is the strength you gain from facing them. What's permanent is the growth, the resilience, the wisdom, and the courage you develop as a result. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of a storm, remember this. The storm is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's your catalyst. It's your opportunity to discover just how strong you really are. It's your chance to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. The storm may be fierce, but so are you. It may be relentless, but so is your determination. It may be overwhelming, but so is your strength. And when the storm finally passes, and it will, you look back and realize that it didn't break you. It revealed you. It showed you that you are stronger, braver, and more resilient than you ever knew. So embrace the storm, learn from it, grow from it. Let it reveal the incredible strength that lies within you. Because the storm doesn't define your limits, it reveals your limitless potential. Growth happens in the struggle, not in comfort. This is a truth that has been echoed throughout history, across cultures, and in the lives of countless individuals who have achieved greatness. It's a truth that is often uncomfortable to accept, but once embraced, it becomes a powerful catalyst for transformation. Growth is not a product of ease or convenience. It is born out of challenge, adversity, and the willingness to push beyond what feels safe and familiar. When everything is going smoothly, when life is predictable and comfortable, there's little incentive to change, to adapt, or to evolve. It's only when we are faced with obstacles, when we are forced to confront our limitations, that we are compelled to grow. Think about a seed. A seed doesn't grow into a mighty tree by staying in the comfort of its shell. It must be buried in the darkness of the soil, where it faces pressure, resistance, and uncertainty. It must push through the dirt, fighting against gravity to reach the light. And even when it breaks through the surface, its journey is far from over. It must endure storms, droughts, and the changing seasons. It is through this struggle that the seed becomes a tree, strong enough to withstand the elements and provide shelter for others. The same is true for us. Our greatest growth comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them head on. When we are in the midst of struggle, it's easy to feel like we're failing. We might feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or even hopeless. But what we often fail to realize is that these moments of struggle are where the magic happens. They are the moments when we are forced to dig deep, to tap into reserves of strength and resilience we didn't know we had. They are the moments when we learn to adapt, to innovate, and to persevere. They are the moments when we discover what we're truly capable of. Consider the story of any great achiever, whether it's an athlete, an entrepreneur, an artist, or a leader. Behind every success story is a series of struggles, setbacks, and failures. These individuals didn't achieve greatness because everything came easily to them. They achieved greatness because they were willing to face challenges, to learn from their mistakes, and to keep going even when the odds were against them. Their struggles were not obstacles to their success, they were the very foundation of it. The struggle teaches us resilience. It shows us that we are capable of more than we ever imagined. It forces us to confront our fears, to step outside of our comfort zones, and to take risks. And with each challenge we overcome, we become stronger, more confident, and more capable. We learn that failure is not the end, but a stepping stone on the path to success. We learn that setbacks are not permanent, but opportunities to learn and grow. Struggle also fosters creativity and innovation. When we are faced with obstacles, we are forced to think outside the box, to find new solutions, and to explore new possibilities. Some of the most groundbreaking discoveries and inventions have come from moments of struggle. When the old ways of doing things no longer work, we are forced to innovate, to experiment, and to create something new. This is how progress is made, not by staying in the comfort zone, but by venturing into the unknown. Moreover, struggle builds character. It teaches us humility, patience, and perseverance. It shows us the value of hard work and determination. It helps us develop a sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. When we face challenges, we are forced to prioritize, to focus on what's important, and to let go of what's not. We learn to appreciate the small victories, to find joy in the journey, and to keep our eyes on the bigger picture. Struggle also strengthens relationships. When we go through difficult times, we often rely on the support of others. We learn the importance of connection, empathy, and collaboration. We realize that we are not alone and that together we can overcome even the greatest challenges. Struggle brings people together, fostering a sense of community and shared purpose. It's important to note that growth through struggle is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs, moments of progress, and moments of regression. There will be times when it feels like we're taking one step forward and two steps back. But even in those moments, growth is happening. Every challenge we face, every obstacle we overcome is shaping us into the person we are meant to be. The key is to embrace the struggle rather than resist it. It's natural to want to avoid discomfort, to seek out the path of least resistance. But when we do this, we miss out on the opportunity to grow. Instead of seeing struggle as something to be avoided, we can choose to see it as an opportunity, a chance to learn, to evolve, and to become the best version of ourselves. This doesn't mean that we should seek out struggle for the sake of it. Life will inevitably bring its share of challenges, and we don't need to go looking for more. But when those challenges come, we can choose to face them with courage and determination. We can choose to see them as opportunities for growth rather than as obstacles to our happiness. One of the most powerful ways to grow through struggle is to adopt a growth mindset. This is the belief that our abilities, intelligence, and talents are not fixed but can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. When we have a growth mindset, we see challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. We view failure not as a reflection of our worth, but as a stepping stone on the path to success. We understand that struggle is not a sign of weakness, but a necessary part of the growth process. Another important aspect of growing through struggle is self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when we're facing challenges, to criticize ourselves for not being further along or for making mistakes. But self-compassion allows us to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, to recognize that struggle is a natural part of life, and to give ourselves the grace to learn and grow at our own pace. Struggle also teaches us the importance of perspective. When we're in the midst of a challenge, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. We might feel like the struggle will never end or that it's insurmountable. But when we step back and look at the situation from a broader perspective, we can often see that the struggle is temporary and that it's serving a greater purpose. This shift in perspective can help us stay motivated and focused, even when the going gets tough. Ultimately, growth through struggle is about embracing the journey rather than focusing solely on the destination. It's about recognizing that the challenges we face are not roadblocks, but stepping stones on the path to becoming the best version of ourselves. It's about understanding that the struggle is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced and learned from. When we choose to see struggle as an opportunity for growth, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We become more resilient, more creative, and more capable. We develop a deeper sense of purpose and a greater appreciation for the journey. And we realize that the struggles we face are not just obstacles to overcome, but opportunities to become the person we were always meant to be. So, the next time you find yourself in the midst of a struggle, remember this. Growth happens in the struggle, not in comfort. Embrace the challenge, lean into the discomfort, and trust that you are growing stronger with every step you take. The struggle is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. And through it, you have the opportunity to become the best version of yourself. You've survived before, and you're stronger now than ever. This is a truth that often gets buried under the weight of current challenges, but it's a truth that can serve as a powerful anchor when the storms of life hit. Every single one of us has faced difficulties in the past. Moments that felt insurmountable, situations that seemed impossible to navigate, and times when we doubted our ability to keep going. Yet here we are. We made it through. We survived. And not only did we survive, but we also emerged from those experiences with new strengths, new insights, and a deeper understanding of our own resilience. Think back to a time in your life when you faced a significant challenge. Maybe it was a personal loss, a professional setback, or a period of intense uncertainty. At the time, it probably felt overwhelming. You might have wondered how you would ever make it through. But you did. You found a way. You tapped into resources you didn't know you had, leaned on the support of others, and kept putting one foot in front of the other until the storm passed. And when it did, you were stronger for it. You learned something about yourself. You gained new skills, new perspectives, and a renewed sense of confidence in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. This is the power of past survival. It serves as proof that you are capable of overcoming adversity. It's a reminder that no matter how difficult the current situation may seem, you have what it takes to get through it. You've done it before, and you can do it again. In fact, you're even better equipped this time around because of everything you've learned and experienced since then. One of the most important lessons we learn from surviving past challenges is that we are more resilient than we think. Resilience isn't something we're born with. It's something we build over time through experience. Every time we face a challenge and come out the other side, we add another layer to our resilience. We learn that we can handle more than we thought possible. We learn that setbacks are temporary, and that we have the strength to keep going even when the path ahead is unclear. Resilience is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes. And just like a muscle, it grows through resistance. When we face challenges, we are forced to push beyond our comfort zones, to stretch ourselves in new ways, and to develop new coping mechanisms. Over time, this process builds a resilience that becomes an integral part of who we are. It becomes a source of strength that we can draw on in future challenges. Another key aspect of past survival is the wisdom it brings. When we go through difficult experiences, we gain insights that we couldn't have gained any other way. We learn what works and what doesn't. We learn how to navigate uncertainty, how to manage stress, and how to find hope in the midst of despair. This wisdom becomes a valuable resource that we can draw on in future challenges. It helps us make better decisions, avoid past mistakes, and approach new challenges with a greater sense of confidence and clarity. Past survival also teaches us the importance of perspective. When we're in the middle of a challenge, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. We might feel like the situation is all-consuming, like it will never end. But when we look back on past challenges, we can see that they were temporary. We can see that they served a purpose, even if we couldn't see it at the time. This perspective can help us stay grounded in the present moment, reminding us that the current challenge too will pass. One of the most powerful ways to harness the strength of past survival is to reflect on the specific strategies and resources that helped us get through previous challenges. What did we do that worked? Who did we turn to for support? What mindset or attitude helped us keep going? By identifying these strategies, we can apply them to our current situation, giving us a roadmap for navigating the storm. For example, maybe in the past, you found strength in connecting with loved ones, in focusing on small, manageable steps, or in reminding yourself of your purpose and values. These strategies are just as relevant now as they were then. By drawing on what has worked in the past, we can approach the current challenge with a greater sense of confidence and clarity. It's also important to recognize that past survival doesn't just teach us about our own strength, it also teaches us about the strength of others. When we go through difficult times, we often rely on the support of friends, family, and community. We learn that we don't have to face challenges alone, that there are people who care about us and want to help. This realization can be incredibly empowering, reminding us that we are part of a larger network of support and that we can lean on others when we need to. Another key lesson from past survival is the importance of self-compassion. When we're in the middle of a challenge, it's easy to be hard on ourselves, to criticize ourselves for not being further along or for making mistakes. But past survival reminds us that we are human, that we are doing the best we can with the resources we have, and that it's okay to not have all the answers. By treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, we can navigate challenges with greater ease and resilience. Past survival also teaches us the value of adaptability. When we face challenges, we are often forced to adapt to new circumstances, to find new ways of doing things, and to let go of old habits or beliefs that no longer serve us. This process of adaptation is a key part of growth and resilience. It helps us become more flexible, more open to change, and more capable of navigating uncertainty. One of the most powerful ways to draw on the strength of past survival is to remind ourselves of our why. Why did we keep going in the past? What was it that motivated us to push through the pain, the uncertainty, and the fear? When we reconnect with our deeper purpose, with the values and goals that matter most to us, we can find the strength to keep going in the present moment. It's also important to celebrate our past victories, no matter how small they may seem. Every challenge we've overcome, every obstacle we've navigated, is a testament to our strength and resilience. By taking the time to acknowledge and celebrate these victories, we can build a sense of confidence and self-efficacy that carries us through future challenges. Finally, past survival reminds us that growth is a lifelong journey. We are constantly evolving, learning, and becoming. The challenges we face today are just another chapter in that journey. They are opportunities to continue building our resilience, to deepen our wisdom, and to become the best version of ourselves. So when you find yourself in the midst of a new challenge, remember this. You've survived before, and you're stronger now than ever. You have the resilience, the wisdom, and the resources to get through this. You have the support of others, the strength of your own spirit, and the lessons of the past to guide you. You are not starting from scratch. You are building on a foundation of survival and strength that has been years in the making. Every challenge you've faced, every storm you've weathered has prepared you for this moment. You are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. And just as you've survived in the past, you will survive this time too. In fact, you will do more than survive. You will thrive because you are not defined by the challenges you face, but by how you rise to meet them. And rise you will. The storm is temporary, but your resilience is permanent. This is a truth that can serve as a lifeline when you're in the midst of chaos, uncertainty, or pain. It's easy to feel like the storm will never end, like the challenges you're facing are insurmountable, and like the weight of it all will crush you. But the reality is this: storms don't last forever. They are, by their very nature, temporary. They come and go, ebb and flow, and eventually they pass. What remains, what endures, is your resilience. The strength, the courage, and the determination that you've built over time. Resilience is not something that disappears when the storm passes. It's not a fleeting emotion or a temporary state of mind. It's a permanent part of who you are. It's the result of every challenge you've faced, every obstacle you've overcome, and every lesson you've learned along the way. It's the foundation that allows you to weather any storm, no matter how fierce or unpredictable it may be. Think about it this way: a storm may knock down trees, flood streets, and cause destruction, but the earth itself remains. The ground beneath your feet, the foundation that holds everything together, is still there. And just like the earth, your resilience is unshakable. It's the core of who you are, the part of you that remains steady and strong even when everything else feels like it's falling apart. One of the most important things to remember about resilience is that it's not something you're born with, it's something you build. It's the result of facing challenges, learning from them, and growing stronger as a result. Every time you face a difficult situation, every time you push through when it would be easier to give up, you're adding another layer to your resilience. You're proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought possible, and you're building a strength that will carry you through future challenges. Resilience is also deeply connected to mindset. It's about how you choose to see the challenges you face. If you see them as insurmountable obstacles, they will feel overwhelming. But if you see them as opportunities for growth, as chances to learn and become stronger, they become manageable. This shift in perspective doesn't make the challenges any less difficult, but it does make them easier to navigate. It allows you to approach them with a sense of purpose and determination rather than fear and despair. Another key aspect of resilience is adaptability. Storms are unpredictable. They don't follow a script, and they don't care about your plans. To weather a storm, you have to be willing to adapt. You have to be flexible, open to change, and willing to try new things. This adaptability is a crucial part of resilience. It allows you to roll with the punches, to find new solutions when old ones no longer work, and to keep moving forward even when the path ahead is unclear. Resilience is also about connection. No one weathers a storm alone. We rely on the support of others, friends, family, community, to help us through. This connection is a vital part of resilience. It reminds us that we're not alone, that there are people who care about us and want to help. It gives us the strength to keep going even when we feel like we can't do it on our own. One of the most powerful things about resilience is that it grows stronger with time. The more challenges you face, the more resilient you become. Each storm you weather adds to your strength, your wisdom, and your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This means that no matter how difficult the current storm may seem, you're better equipped to handle it than you were the last time. You've built up your resilience, and that resilience will carry you through. It's also important to remember that resilience is not about never feeling pain or never struggling It's not about being invincible or unaffected by the challenges you face. On the contrary, resilience is about feeling the pain, acknowledging the struggle, and still choosing to keep going. It's about finding hope in the midst of despair, light in the midst of darkness, and strength in the midst of weakness. Resilience is also deeply connected to self-compassion. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to be hard on yourself, to criticize yourself for not being further along or for making mistakes. But resilience requires kindness and understanding. It requires you to treat yourself with the same compassion and care that you would offer to a friend. This self-compassion allows you to navigate challenges with greater ease and grace, and it helps you build the resilience you need to keep going. Another key aspect of resilience is the ability to find meaning in the struggle. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to feel like it's all for nothing, like the pain and the hardship are pointless. But resilience allows you to see the bigger picture. It allows you to find meaning in the struggle, to see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. This sense of meaning can be incredibly empowering, giving you the strength to keep going even when the storm feels overwhelming. Resilience is also about perspective. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. You might feel like the storm will never end, like it's all-consuming and never-ending. But resilience allows you to step back and see the situation from a broader perspective. It reminds you that the storm is temporary, that it will pass, and that you have the strength to get through it. One of the most powerful ways to build resilience is to focus on what you can control. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to feel like everything is out of your control. But resilience is about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, and letting go of what you can't. This focus allows you to take proactive steps to navigate the storm rather than feeling helpless and overwhelmed. Resilience is also about gratitude. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong, on the challenges and the difficulties. But resilience allows you to find things to be grateful for, even in the midst of the storm. This gratitude can be incredibly powerful, shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right, and giving you the strength to keep going. Finally, resilience is about hope. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to feel hopeless, like there's no way out. But resilience is about holding on to hope, even when it feels like there's none to be found. It's about believing that the storm will pass, that better days are ahead, and that you have the strength to get through it. So when you find yourself in the midst of a storm, remember this. The storm is temporary, but your resilience is permanent. You have the strength, the courage, and the determination to weather any storm. You've built up your resilience over time, and that resilience will carry you through. The storm may be fierce, but so are you. And when it passes, as it always does, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. You decide how the story ends. Choose to rise, not retreat. This is perhaps one of the most empowering truths you can hold on to when facing life's challenges. No matter how difficult the circumstances, no matter how overwhelming the odds may seem, the ultimate power lies within you. The way you respond to adversity, the choices you make in the face of struggle, and the mindset you adopt will determine the outcome of your story. Life will inevitably throw storms your way, but it's up to you whether those storms break you or become the catalyst for your greatest growth. The idea that you decide how the story ends is rooted in the principle of agency. The understanding that you have control over your thoughts, actions, and responses, even when you can't control external events. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that you'll never face moments of doubt, fear, or pain. What it means is that you have the power to choose how you navigate those moments. You can choose to rise above the challenges, to learn from them, and to use them as stepping stones toward a better future. Or you can choose to retreat, to let the challenges define you, and to give up on your dreams. The choice is yours. Choosing to rise doesn't mean that you won't feel fear or uncertainty. In fact, it's often in the moments when we feel most afraid that we have the greatest opportunity to rise. Fear is a natural response to the unknown, to the possibility of failure, and to the weight of responsibility. But fear doesn't have to dictate your actions. You can acknowledge the fear, feel it fully, and still choose to move forward. This is what it means to rise, to act in spite of the fear, to push through the discomfort and to keep going even when every part of you wants to retreat. Rising also requires a shift in mindset. It's about seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities. Every obstacle you face is a chance to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. When you approach challenges with this mindset, you open yourself up to new possibilities. You begin to see that the difficulties you're facing are not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter, one where you emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. One of the most powerful ways to choose to rise is to focus on your why. Why are you fighting? What is it that you're working toward? What is the deeper purpose behind your efforts? When you connect with your why, you tap into a source of motivation that is far greater than any obstacle. Your why becomes your anchor, the thing that keeps you grounded and focused even when the storm is raging around you. It reminds you of what's at stake and gives you the strength to keep going, no matter how difficult the journey may be. Choosing to rise also means taking responsibility for your life. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances for your struggles. To say that life is unfair, that you've been dealt a bad hand, or that other people are standing in your way. But while these things may be true to some extent, they don't have to define your story. When you take responsibility for your life, you reclaim your power. You acknowledge that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond, and it's in that response that your power lies. Rising requires action. It's not enough to simply think positively or to hope that things will get better. You have to take concrete steps toward your goals, even when those steps feel small or insignificant. Progress is progress, no matter how slow or incremental it may seem. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward rising above the challenges and creating the life you want. Another key aspect of choosing to rise is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going when things get tough, and to adapt to changing circumstances. It's what allows you to rise again and again, no matter how many times you fall. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build over time through experience. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, adds to your resilience and makes you stronger. Choosing to rise also means embracing vulnerability. It's about being willing to take risks, to put yourself out there, and to face the possibility of failure. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it's a strength. It's the courage to show up, to be seen, and to try, even when there are no guarantees. When you embrace vulnerability, you open yourself up to new opportunities, new connections, and new growth. Rising also requires self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when you're facing challenges, to criticize yourself for not being further along or for making mistakes. But self-compassion allows you to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, to recognize that you're doing the best you can with the resources you have, and to give yourself the grace to learn and grow at your own pace. Another important aspect of choosing to rise is the ability to let go of what you can't control. Life is full of uncertainties, and there will always be things that are beyond your control. But when you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, you reclaim your power. You stop wasting energy on things you can't change and start focusing on the things you can. Choosing to rise also means surrounding yourself with support. No one rises alone. We all need the support of others, friends, family, mentors, and community to help us through the tough times. When you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, and who challenge you to be your best self, you create a network of support that helps you rise above the challenges. Rising also requires a commitment to growth. It's about being willing to learn, to adapt, and to evolve. Growth is not always comfortable, but it's necessary if you want to rise above the challenges and create the life you want. When you commit to growth, you open yourself up to new possibilities and new opportunities. Finally, choosing to rise is about hope. It's about believing that no matter how difficult the present moment may be, better days are ahead. Hope is what keeps you going when the journey feels long and the path feels uncertain. It's the belief that your efforts will pay off, that your struggles will lead to something greater, and that you have the strength to create the life you want. So when you find yourself in the midst of a storm, remember this: you decide how the story ends. You have the power to choose to rise, to face the challenges head on, and to create a future that is brighter than the present. The storm may be fierce, but so are you. And when you choose to rise, you become the author of your own story, a story of strength, courage, and triumph.